All right. Cool. That works.
Are you getting ready for bed there, Ed?
I'm still good. Now I'm comfortable. I'm still sipping my wine, so I'm
Okay, good. I'll have another sip of my coffee then.
5 o'clock somewhere.
Coffee and wine, yeah.
So so we've obviously had some experience with by living in Yugoslavia with communism, and Jared and I have had this discussion many times. I have an impression. I have my own life-lived impression of socialism, and
impression and experience.
Experience that, yeah. I saw a good one the other day. Socialism was described as one for you, one for me, one for you, 2 for me, one for you, 10 for me, one for you. That's enough. The rest is mine. You've got
pretty
enough.
Much, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much how it went. And then if you complained, they would, that will take away what we gave you then. And if you
didn't the communists kill off the socialists?
It was complicated. There were people who are during World War II.
Yeah.
During World War II, there were communists and socialists and monarchists and other groups that were. It was a free for all basically, and but the Tito and the partisans ultimately won out. I think it was because they were not because they were a majority, but because they were just better organized. You got to give them that. They're really well organized.
Oh yeah.
Right? I mean, Lenin wouldn't have been able to do what he did with the Bolsheviks in general unless they were extremely well organized. They were a minority, but an organized minority. They knew what they wanted and how to get from here to there. Whereas the common people are just leave me the fuck alone. Just tell me where to go, where to stand, and
when to do it. Yeah.
It's a new type of mafia. Back when I started.
Well, you probably hit it on the head with the mafia because the way they took power and definitely the way they kept power for 40 years and the way socialism works, it is based on fear. And all you have to do at some point in time is take out a few of your enemies. And it just keeps that over other people's heads. We were, even as kids, there were certain songs you couldn't sing. Don't sing that because people have disappeared. Okay? There were family members, my mom's cousins, who right after World War II just disappeared. Their bodies were never found. And that's kind of the tactic that's been the tactic of socialism, whether it's, and communism, wherever it's occurred. Soviet Union, Vietnam, Cuba, Venezuela, wherever it is
China.
You go in and you take care of some people, and now you have, for the rest of your reign, you can pretty much just tell people, hey, don't do anything, keep quiet, otherwise you can disappear.
Well, you're even seeing that nowadays with just the censoring on social media, cancel culture, and all that stuff.
I feel like that's where cancel culture came from.
Oh yeah, it's clearly a tactic to separate people into being people that are in the out group, just outcast them, so you turn them into social pariahs, and then just make it a cult of popular opinion, and useful idiots will never see that they're being pushed into that direction.
Mob rule, yeah.
Well, keeping people, fear is a motivator. If you keep people confused, uninformed, and fearful, they're easier to control. That's been shown over millennia. Mom, for example, the day that they lifted the mask mandate at schools, they said, okay, they're optional. And because there was a court order that basically said that Pritzker's executive orders were null and void. The governor can get a 30-day emergency powers you can't keep repeating that and extending that for 2 frickin' years. So what the judge found is his order was the initial emergency order was valid, and it expired in at the end of April of 2020, and it was unlawfully extended. And so they lift the mask mandate. Say, okay, you don't have to show up. You don't have to wear a mask at school. And mom, even still today, is still the only teacher, that doesn't wear the mask. And some of the children stopped wearing them as well, but some still do. But there's teachers still double masked and fearful of, oh my God, I can't go into that classroom. There's children in there that are unmasked.
Yeah.
It's not leprosy. It's not, Ebola. You're not. It's not caught that spread that easily. But they've swallowed that fear, and they can't let go of it, and they're manipulable, easily manipulable.
Well, the easiest way to manipulate people is to tell them that you're doing it for the common good. Like, why wouldn't you care about your neighbor? As long as you tell them they're doing it for the good of someone else, then why wouldn't you?
It's a guilt trip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they do the same thing when it comes to environmentalism. There's nothing wrong with taking care of the environment and all this stuff, but if you question so much as the people that are seeking to profit from it or have any kind of political motivation or corporate motivation, then you just look like somebody, they've already painted it. So, you're a climate denier, you're you don't care about you don't care about what happens to your children. It's just they've successfully already blocked off all the avenues for a legitimate argument and legitimate criticism to the point where it just turns you into somebody who's only selfish. And it's a really underhanded tactic of trying to look altruistic.
Yes, absolutely. That is exactly what it is. And it by censoring, the whole censoring thing. I mean, we live in a country with a First Amendment, and it's out the window. The information we're given is pre-digested, pre-calculated. Jared, you might have heard me this morning from upstairs in the bedroom. I was talking about, there was a story about Colbert, and Colbert had, his shtick where he does he's got a show, he does a little joking. He goes, something about, price of gas is, the average price of gas over $4. He goes, well, we could do that. I could pay a little more if it means stopping Putin in Ukraine. Hell, let it go to $15. I don't care. I drive a Tesla. And he totally shit on regular people.
Yeah.
And
99% of the population.
They can't buy a Tesla.
It's like that thing with Seth Rogen like a month or two ago where he's like, oh, well, it's okay if my car gets broken into. It's not that big of a deal. Everyone, that's just living in the city. Everyone should get their car broken into.
Yeah, it's just the expectation now to just get a car broken into. Or now it's just the expectation to just not be able to afford gas because I have an electric car. I saw that California is now shutting down, or now they're gonna regulate electricity to your home, and now it's just like, okay,
well, it's for the common good.
Now my car can't be charged, so it's like,
it's for the common good, while the political elite sit in their ivory towers while telling you need to do things for public good.
Yeah, while they're being driven around in fucking armored Cadillacs, diesel Cadillacs, while we're paying for their gas.
And private planes, yeah.
But Jared, did I ever tell you about the, I told you, right, the union people, they were all so gung-ho about, about their guy winning, right? And so, we're talking about gas prices going up, and then they're like, well, I mean, nobody was driving when Trump was president. What? What do you mean nobody was driving?
Well, maybe the last year.
Yeah, like maybe the last year, but I don't know. It's like, I don't care, so much that if you have a right-leaning view of politics, left-leaning view of politics, call the bad eggs in your camp out, Like, I'm more on the right camp, but, I'll shank Dan Crenshaw. That guy is a piece of shit. But, if you can't call out the people in your party that are legitimately doing bad things, they pervert the ideology that you want to preach. I don't think either side is necessarily, like, at its core bad, but it's the people that have taken, just taken an inch and taken a mile every single time that perverted it. And Right now, it feels much more like the political left has controlled the narrative in the media, Hollywood, just socially.
Would you mind introducing yourself? I don't think Ed has met you.
Oh, yeah, I'm Devin's roommate, Kenny. Oh, yeah, the camera's there. Nice to meet you, Ed.
Nice to meet you. I've heard of you, but no, I don't think we ever met.
No. Well, I'm sure the locals... Oh, shit.
Again?
It's what? It's Blue Monster. That was Monster.
You spilled last night, too.
That's Andrew's fault for getting me excited.
What are you drinking?
Just water.
Yeah, this is water.
Looks like rosé.
Yeah.
Or water.
That's just the color of the cup.
Speaking of rosé, how was that wine? How was that wine that you took a picture of? It wasn't the rosé. It was kind of brownish.
Yeah, it looked like a brandy. It is just absolutely incredible.
Was it?
Probably the best wine I've ever had.
So it was homemade?
And I had way too much of it.
Homemade, or was it the store-bought?
Oh, no, it's all homemade. These guys make it. Their house is in Tivat, ironically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are the two guys that are doing our tiles in the bathroom. They are introduced to them. They did the terrace out front. So they're kind of, they're the workers around here. When I need anything done that I can't handle myself, they're great. They can do tiling, they can do stone, they do a little electrical, plumbing, the works. And also we became friends in the meantime. But their dad was born in Tivat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I met him. He came down. He was asking me about our dad. He's a little older than that. He was not familiar with our family. But they still own a house there with a lot of land, a lot of grapes, and that's where they make this wine.
Nice.
Yeah. And this was a Plavac Mali, the Zinfandel of Croatia,
right,
that somebody crossed with a white wine. And made the red grapes into white grapes. And that's the product that you saw. It's incredible. Smooth as anything, but 14% alcohol.
Okay, more than a typical white.
Yeah, it hits you. It hits you. Yeah, it doesn't play around. Let's put it that way.
How was your pork? How was the pork and the veal? How did that come out?
Really good.
Really good. I should have seen that.
We have been perfecting our little bell cooking, and last night was as good as it got. It was just perfect. So it was about an hour. It takes about an hour 20.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, hour 20 it was a piece of veal and some pork. Potatoes could not have been better. After about 50 minutes, we opened it, turned it a little bit, let it go for another 20 or so, and that was perfection. Turned out great.
That bacon looked great too. How was the bacon?
It's great because we did it a different way. It wasn't the way they do it here in Dubrovnik, in Župa, is they put just layers and layers of salt on the outside of the bacon and then hang it to smoke. Well, it turns out that pretty much everywhere else in Croatia, they dip it in a very salty water. It's saltier than the sea. So you're melting a whole bunch, kilograms and kilograms of salt in water, and then you let that bacon sit in there for overnight, and then it goes smoke, but then it takes another 2 or 3 months to what they call ripen.
Yeah.
And so it's finally done. It is the end result is it's nowhere near as salty as real bacon. So it's great. You can eat as much as you shouldn't.
Are you a bacon eater?
Oh, that looks good. Wow.
Yeah, and all homemade. I mean, what is great is,
that looks great.
Pigs are from a village about a kilometer and a couple of kilometers from here. It's all, or what Americans would call organic. It's all homemade stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah, yum. Look delicious. Were you able to wire Vince in? Were you able to stream this? Are we streaming this?
I'm recording.
Okay, you're recording it.
Yeah.
All right.
I told him he can join the signal call.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Just make sure he's muted.
He might be working.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he might be probably working. So, wow.
Cool. Well, what other questions are there, guys?
I guess the only real big one I had is why was that king buried? In Libertyville? Did he say?
Oh yeah, the Serbian king was he in 1941 when the Germans attacked. He fled to London. He was a king in exile.
Okay.
But because the after World War II, the communists took over. They nullified the monarchy. And so then he ceased being king. So he moved to the United States and lived in Chicago, actually, for many, many, many years. Very active in the Serbian community. He actually died in Denver. He was an alcoholic, so he had cirrhosis of the liver. So he went in 1970, he traveled to Denver. There was a hospital in Denver that did liver transplants. But it was unsuccessful, so he died there, and then they brought his body here because this is where he lived. This is where there's a sizable Serbian community and Croatian community in Chicago, and there's that church north of Libertyville, and that's where he was buried. Okay. So we had a king in our midst.
Interesting.
We never had a king. Did we? Croatians have a king? We had a king back like 1,000 years ago.
Well, yeah, wasn't Tomislav a king?
Oh, yeah, the first one, first king, yeah.
So I guess it was a monarchy. It wasn't. Was it Croatia? The Kingdom of Croatia. Yes,
I think it was.
A Kingdom of Croatia.
Yeah. Probably, almost 1,000 years ago. I don't know how many more there were. They didn't go into that in school again because we were in school there during we attended communist schools, and they suppressed history of Croatians in Croatia. It's just Yugoslavia.
Yeah, if I ever read anything historic, I limit it to Dubrovnik, the Republic of Dubrovnik. I couldn't care less about the rest of Croatia.
And it's far too complicated. It was pulled in this way and that way, and you couldn't possibly cover that whole history.
Yeah. I find the Republic of Ragusa to be a lot more important and more interesting as far as history is concerned.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a whole other conversation. That's a great. I told Jared about that and how they were very suspicious of power and the way they would. They had a Senate, and one person would serve as the rector, the head of the Senate, the president, so to speak, for a month. And that was it. Rotate them in, and then for 2 years you couldn't be rector again. So when rich people they didn't have to worry about voting and things like that because the regular folks didn't have votes. They had to just worry about the next guy, the other rich people. And that says to me that when they're worried about fairness and power, not letting the other guy have power, they can come up with a system and they did come up with a system that was fairly well kept in line. Obviously, there were still people are still people. There's still greed. There's still lust for power,
and there was still a ruling class. No matter
a ruling
how
class,
you
absolutely, an aristocratic class, but they still managed to come up with a system that limited power. And I like the whole thing with they reach into to decide who would take what position. They reach into a sack, and if you pulled out a golden ball, it's totally random. And I think I think what we've seen here, at least in the last election, definitely, but in the last several elections, is the people are not to be trusted with voting. It should be random. Pick the names out of a hat. All right, you go to Washington for 2 years, and then you're done. That's it. And then you don't get to go there again. And
Well, that reminds me of the Larry David Super Bowl commercial. Everybody gets to vote, even the idiots.
I didn't watch the Super Bowl, so I didn't see that one.
It's just the commercial.
Is that what he said?
I think I sent you the commercial on YouTube. You got to see that commercial.
yeah.
It's great.
Even the idiots. Well, yes, even the idiots. And the socialists. I'm looking at you.
Well, no, I'd be the first one to raise my hand and say we should have a socialist party in America, and a communist party, and a libertarian party, and every other party, because right now we only have one party, and it's not working out. I laugh my butt off even with you guys 5 minutes ago talking about left and right. There's no left and right. There's one party in America. Okay, their rhetoric may differ, but it's one party system.
Oh, they all want the same thing.
Yeah, I would love to see what you have in Europe. In Croatia, Croatia has the same problem, but at least it's mitigated by the fact that I think there's 7 or 8 parties. They have a problem because I guess it's just nature. You end up with 2 very strong parties, and that's what Croatia has. But there's still enough power, there's still enough other minor parties where they have to make coalitions and voices are heard. And I think that would be a great thing for America. It doesn't solve the problems. I'm not so naive to think that it's a solution, but I would love to be able to think that my libertarian vote has some substance to it, has something to do with something that in a coalition with more than likely Republicans, some of my issues, some of my concerns can be looked at, can be solved. The way it is now, if you are not a so-called Republican or Democrat, nothing is being done for you. Zero. It's a frickin' ruling class that we just talked about for here. That's all you got.
What did George Carlin say? It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
Yeah.
There you go. Or as Mark Twain said, if you could change anything with voting, they wouldn't let you do it.
Yeah, if it mattered.
Yeah, it's the left wing and right wing of the same bird.
Exactly.
Exactly. There you go. Yep. And as that other saying goes, it doesn't matter if it's the left or right boot that's on your neck. When it's on your neck, it's on your neck.
It's still a boot, and it's still on your neck.
Yeah.
Do you know that quote, Jared? Who's that from?
I don't know.
No. You're the anarchist. Buchanan?
I don't know who said it.
I think the only party we really need is the Canadian Rhinoceros Party. It's a complete satire party, but it is an official one. Their platforms include things such as stimulating the economy were to be elected. The party would change 25 cents into 30 cents. This way, taxpayers would see their income increase by 16%.
There you go.
The party plans to open tax havens in all provinces to keep foreign funds local. Replace teachers on leave with photos of famous scientists. Sorry, I forgot to mention. The Rhinoceros Party says that economy is their number one priority. They also say that education is their number one priority. Employment is their number one priority. every single thing.
Everything's one priority. Sounds like a Canadian Libertarian Party.
By 2020, all citizens will have a job, and some will even have 2. I'm voting Rhino. I don't care.
So a rhino would be there instead of a donkey or an elephant. A rhino would be their symbol. Wow. Yeah, we need less of it. Less of everything.
If every government could just piss off and leave everyone alone, the world would be such a better place. Like I seriously feel that way when working with different, with my job I have, I see so many different like ethnic groups of people, and they're all super nice as long, and just like
They're just people.
they're just people, exactly. If governments and shit would just piss off and stop putting each other at each other's throats, everyone could just get along. It's really kind of upsetting because when you're not being bombarded with the media telling you that everyone is your enemy, everyone's just living their lives.
Yeah, leave it to the government to demonize just regular citizens.
Government and the media. I mean, you perpetuate this idea that everyone's a victim, and they go around feeling they are. Yeah,
everyone's a victim. Everyone's an enemy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've perpetuated this us versus them culture for so long that it keeps people from just interacting. Of course, there's gonna be differences. That's gonna happen, but
that doesn't mean you get to demonize them.
Yeah, exactly.
Destroy their lifestyle.
Just leave us alone. I just want to be left alone.
Yeah, I just want to be left alone.
Well, I think Texas has it right because their legislature meets every 2 years for 120 days. And after they're done meeting, they go back to their day jobs. I mean, in Texas, a legislator is not a full-time job.
Yeah, unfortunately,
it's not it shouldn't be. It's not a career.
Right, it shouldn't be. It should not be. And they certainly shouldn't be getting retirement and pensions out of it.
I'd love to be a politician. I wouldn't have to do anything. I just tell everybody that they're being wrong.
Just keep getting reelected. So work it out so you can keep getting reelected. Keep making promises you can't keep, and just.
I could be J.B. Pritzker. I could be incredibly fat and blow up everyone's toilets, and then take it from there.
Politicians are just people that couldn't make it in the private sector.
Yep. Well, did you hear about?
Yeah.
Did you hear about Lori Lightfoot? Apparently, they're investigating her because she was going around screaming about how she's got a bigger dick than everyone and all this stuff.
Was that like I think
that was like last week.
I might have heard something about that. How she was shitting on someone.
Yeah, she was like berating a bunch of people. I think on staff and like in public and stuff, saying she's got the biggest dick in Chicago or some crap. I
didn't hear the actual quote, but I did hear about how she's being investigated for something that she said in a meeting or a conference call or something, and it got leaked out.
What was it? It was a Democrat who was in Detroit, I think, who was running a black woman.
Yeah.
She was saying that don't trust the ching chongs. She was like in front of the voting areas, like trying to get.
Oh my god!
Trying to run against her Asian opponent by saying that they're ching chongs and don't vote for them.
Ching chong.
Jesus Christ!
I'm like, that's hilarious. I'd give her a vote just because it's funny. But
hey, I'll give anybody 2-1 odds that Lightfoot gets reelected.
I don't know. I mean, they'll keep voting for her, honestly.
Nah,
with the demographics she's got.
Chicago doesn't care. They will just. I don't see anybody challenging her.
No, they won't. There's no way you're going to flip that red. It's too much allegiance. That's the problem. It's the same reason with Trudeau getting reelected, despite the fact that he's been on record saying he wanted to punch indigenous people, or when he was questioned about poisoning the indigenous people's water, he just told them, "Thank you for your donation."
The blackface.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've done blackface so many times. Well, he's just a horrible person.
Can a decent person get elected?
No. No, it's you can't. It just doesn't happen.
No, because you got to be a piece of shit to demonize the other person. If a good person actually runs, then they actually have a reasonable mindset.
Well, as a piece of shit who demonizes people all the time. There's a balance, right? But there's a certain line that as a person you just shouldn't cross. And it's very hard, especially when you know you're not going to get caught. For a lot of people in power, that's very easy to cross.
Well, if I ran for office, my approach would be, all right, the other guy, he's okay. He's a fair person. He's bright. But I'm just a little better. Right, and so I'm not going to demonize. I wouldn't demonize someone, but I'd probably get shit hammered for that as well.
I think the tough thing you run into running on a campaign like that, while it's idealistically great, is that the common person is so just looking for an enemy, because a lot of people also don't have actual struggles in their life and kind of attribute it to really dumb bullcrap. I think they would just, unfortunately view it as weak. And I think that makes it hard to win what would be a sound argument and should make sense. It's just I don't know. I think we built up a system that makes it hard for
Oh,
anybody.
I understand why it wouldn't work. I mean, it is the antithesis of the Trump approach, right? Where Trump's calling everybody idiots and shitting on everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one way of going about it. But would it work the other way? And you're right. You wouldn't draw any attention.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be on any headlines. No one would know who the hell you were. And so unfortunately that those three things are three strikes. And when it comes to walking into the ballot box, your name, you got no name recognition. No one knows anything about you.
Yeah, we're in such a knee-jerk. This is such a knee-jerk reaction. If you don't make the headlines, then you just don't get the publicity.
Well, you also have to be, you also have to think about things like visual marketability and like look at why Dan Crenshaw is in power, because he looks picture perfect. He's a veteran who lost an eye, and he's young looking. He's so appealing. He brings back that Reagan era, just fascination, right? And it's disgusting to me personally, but but then you hear the stuff coming out of his mouth like, oh, we need red flag laws and don't you dare question our allegiance for Zionism and shit like that. It's like, yeah.
So was he that? Do you think he was that way the whole time, or did he?
Oh, you think I won't eat your crotch popcorn? You think I won't do it?
Do you think he was like that the whole time and just masking it, or has he changed?
I think he was someone who probably didn't even actually have real beliefs to begin with. I think a lot of these people, you see a lot of it, especially in the pro-Trump era, where people market themselves as being on the right, but that's just because now people on the right are viewed as the counterculture. So, if you look like you're part of the counterculture, you look more appealing. And you have a niche audience that's going to be more empowered to you. And it is a very easy way to dupe people that are looking for an outlet that might be getting their voice out. So I think, unfortunately, a lot of people, especially like an older generation of people, are going to get duped into, because here's this young guy full of energy. He's saying a lot of things. I hope the next generation can carry on. But of course, this guy's sucking up to the establishment already. So I think
it's a strategy.
Yeah, it's a strategy. That's how I view it with a lot of people, and not even just people like him, just people in smaller sectors and stuff.
Yeah, there's so few people that are authentic. What did he say? If you could fake authenticity, you'd have it made.
Well, this is a bit of a vulgar topic, but there was a guy who was parading himself as like a on the right, former Democrat, now conservative, men's life coach sort of guy. And then he got caught writing an article about sending his girlfriend, his 10-year younger girlfriend or something, to have sex with another guy from Tinder. And then they found all his porn videos that he had posted just a few years prior. Yeah, exactly. And he was just marketing himself that way. And it's it's just very easy to mask yourself if you know what you're doing.
Well, I think it was Groucho Marx that said, I have principles, and if you don't like those, I got others.
There you go.
Well, I got a question for you guys, politics related. I think we're mirroring the 70s here. Nixon equals Trump. Both guys getting impeached, both guys being very bombastic and so forth. And then you have Biden and Carter. We can ignore Ford. Ford did not get elected. He just fell into the seat. So think of him as, if Trump had resigned, he would have been Pence. So what followed Carter was 8 years of a very conservative, America first, you can say, policy. My guy, even Russia's coming back to being the foe that was back then. So my question is, who is that conservative that's going to be Reagan? We have Trump and Nixon. We have Carter, Biden. Who's going to be Reagan of 2024?
Oh, Trump's running. He's totally running. And if Trump announces he's running, it'll only be anti-Trumpers that'll run against him. No one is going to even try, because there's not a chance. Yeah, look at.
I think so. I think they will. I think somebody will challenge him. God, I hope somebody challenges him. I don't want him as president again.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
No, Trump was funny. Don't get me wrong, but
I would like to see him again just to see liberals' heads explode. I mean, I'm fucked either way.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Listen, I said it to, actually tweeted it out when they said Trump was going to run for re-election. I said, deep down in my heart, I will never, ever forgive him for not pardoning Snowden and Assange.
No one's going to do that. No one, the establishment just won't.
Yeah, well,
that's too big of a nail in a coffin.
And that makes him establishment. That's the whole thing.
Well, of course.
When Trump was campaigning, he sounded like a libertarian. But go back to his actual policies. He was a Republican.
Well, Jared Kushner is his son-in-law.
All the contempt I can.
Yeah,
he's going to run. Maybe it's a head fake. I don't know. If it's not Trump, then the next guy on the bench would be DeSantis, who's making.
Is DeSantis that conservative? History is going to repeat itself. We're going to get somebody that the country is going to accept a little better than they would accept Trump. Reagan.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
I could see DeSantis running.
I don't know what's going to happen in this country as a whole because we are on a decline. Like there's no turning back. Culturally, we're rotten to the core.
We're over the cliff.
Yeah, we've been.
But the thing is, I can't see China or Russia taking over either because I don't know much about Russia, but China, on the other hand, they have a huge history of just screwing up at the last second because they're just so greedy. If you ever look at the fall of the Qing dynasty, I believe generals were pocketing money that was supposed to go to war efforts and stuff, and they collapsed that way. I don't know. I don't know who would take over. I guess India, Pooper Power 2020. I don't know, but
can we see an era of decentralization?
No, I think with
no.
Although I do think we're about to get a fractured internet with everything we're doing to Russia and all that. Because they're probably going to start making their own internet infrastructures and networks and stuff. Because we've cut them off the rest of the world, which is a stupid idea. Like it doesn't do anything. Them not being able to get Pepsi products isn't going to hurt them.
Yeah, closing McDonald's. Yeah.
You're just pissing off the common person. It's retarded.
Not playing Tchaikovsky.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe the Russian people hate us. Wow, I wonder why.
I agree with that. I don't see the Russians or Chinese, but they can cause a lot of trouble. They can have their own cryptocurrency. They can go to a different. If China and Russia and say Iran were to step away from the dollar and not have it as their reserve currency and just say, okay, we're going to trade with each other in rubles or gold. That's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah, no, I think we're headed for real dark times economically. There's no doubt about that. I don't know. It's really a question. I don't know how it's gonna happen because we've had civilization declines many times before, but we've never had a civilization decline where we've been so interconnected with the advent of the internet that I kind of don't know how. I don't think we have a precedent for that, realistically speaking.
Well, look at the so what we're seeing is supply chain breakdown, right? So
because Pete Buttigieg has got to go on maternity leave,
that can just keep going down and down and down to the point where now we don't eat. Now the fruit and vegetable section is like sparse.
Yeah.
All right, bread and wheats and flour and necessities, eggs, milk, those kind of things become scarcer. The price, of course, would skyrocket and become ridiculously expensive. So we're teetering on that edge. It can easily go that way. And capitalism is supposed to save us from that because what it's supposed to do is, okay, as scarcity comes in, price goes up, and as demand goes higher, price increases, of course, right? And then that causes capitalism to find more efficiencies and wring out efficiencies in the system and be able to restore the markets. But there's a point it could do that within limits. But if you're within these limits, right? But if you're out here, you're outside these bounds. You can't. There's no getting back inside the box.
I think personally, yeah. What do you call it? Another factor I think about is I think we're having an issue with supply distribution as a whole because now we don't have people that want to do the job because now the people that are already in are being overworked. Their bosses are demanding more and more from them, but they have less and less staff. So now you got an issue of how are you even going to get this stuff to the shelves to begin with?
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't see that situation getting any better either.
Yeah, no. As someone in the distribution
as someone in the distribution field. Yeah.
No, it's scary. So how do you invest in this kind of environment? It's just like, do you totally pull back, or do you?
Yeah, it's one of those
commodities.
It's one of those
commodities. You have to invest in commodities. It's always been the answer during inflationary times.
Did you see the price of nickel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, copper also. Yeah.
Holy shit! I couldn't believe that.
It stopped trading. It hasn't traded all last week.
Right, they halted trading because it was insane. It was a vertical line.
Yeah. Well, no, you should see wheat. It's the same thing with wheat prices. I follow wheat here. It is trading at 400-500, whatever it is, bushels or tons or whatever they trade it in, and it just skyrocketed all of a sudden up to 1,500. So yeah, that's what they say. In inflationary times, invest in commodities. And if you're looking for stocks, it's the stocks that are dealing with commodities. It's the only way to protect yourself right now.
Wow.
Yeah. Gold and silver.
Yeah, until they confiscate those too, like they have in the past. It's there's not a lot of ways forward. So
you're in a concern. You try to protect. You're in a protective mode. You're in a shell to kind of conserve what you have.
I'm just thankful that the last few years of my 20s have been absolute hell on earth. So really appreciate that.
Penn Jillette, one of his videos, he was saying one thing that we're always complaining how bad things are, but things always keep getting better. And yes, we fall back a bit. But would you trade places with anyone 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago?
100 years ago, no, because their showers sucked back then. So I don't know.
No electricity, no running water. Yeah, exactly. Would you trade?
I'll take 3 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'll take 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, 2019. We're firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. Not 10 years ago, not 25 years ago, but 3 years ago. All right, yeah, I'm down with that. But do you need to go through this shakeout? And it's been worse than this. I mean, there's been wars, there've been Great Depressions. I firmly believe in the government's ability to really fuck things up. So. How else do you explain everything going so wrong all at once?
Oh, yeah.
Go from flying high to everything going to shit at once. Like you couldn't do that if you wanted to.
Well, there was a build to it, right? Because growing up, I had seen everything they'd been pushing on the media, like just in general, church bad, Republicans bad. It's just. Regardless of how you feel about all that sort of stuff, they were always trying to break down the opposition. They were trying to break down all their roots. And they were, I felt like they were programming our generation specifically to really just hate the family, churches, and stuff like that. And I don't even go to church. I'm not really close to my family, all that stuff. But I could see that they were trying to put cracks in there, cracks in establishment, cracks in the nuclear family, as it were. And it all culminated in 2016 when the election was coming up, and then Trump won, and that was when it was over, essentially.
Oh, they freaked out. Hillary. I think Hillary paid that election was paid for. It's why she was so upset because damn it, I paid for this vote, and I should be president, and she was certain of it.
Yeah,
and Trump threw a wrench into their works.
Granted, I don't like Bernie, but I think he was probably who their party wanted. Actually, yeah,
exactly. Twice they screwed him twice.
Yeah, it's
totally screwed him.
And it's just rotten to the core. It really is. And I don't know what can really be done about it other than mutiny. But
can the American electorate? Let's see what happens in November. The signs are massive red wave, and not rhinos, and they're wise to that.
I don't know, because I hear about the people that my sister goes to school with now, and everyone is so overly sensitive. 50% of them all identify as LGBT and stuff like that, which, if that's your own conclusion, fine, but I doubt that many of you are. You're just trying to be in the in-group. And, my sister has to censor the things she says because they'll all get offended, and it gets to the point where it's like, it's so weird to me that I can converse with people that are 30 easier than people my own age, because they're going to get offended no matter what I say, if I really say what I want to say.
Yeah. Well, I think the extreme left, the progressives, even to the left of that, they're a minority, but they're vocal and they're well organized.
Well, in the effort,
but now they're going to pay for this.
I think. Well, I don't know. I think we're seeing. I think it's really an issue of just the demasculinity of men too, because you see how a lot of these guys get, even on the right, like a lot of them are like closet homosexuals and weird stuff. Like it's gotten bad. They can't find women, and then they recluse further and further online, and then the women have gotten even worse too, with being way too sexually open, and it's just. Everything is way the hell out on one extreme or the other. It's just gotten...
Yeah, what's up with Lindsey Graham? There's no way that guy doesn't suck dick, right? Is it just me?
Listen, guys, everything you're talking about, none of that matters. Those are things that you discuss when the economy is doing well. Wasn't it during the Clinton campaign that was it Clinton himself or whoever was running against him that said it's the economy's stupid?
It's the economy's stupid, yeah.
I get a laugh when people are getting all pissed off that Joe Biden is now trying to put off inflation or Putin as a cause for inflation, and it doesn't matter. Americans couldn't care less whether it's the supply chain, whether it's Putin. He's going to pray that the Democrat Party, that's only because they're in control of both houses and the White House, are the ones that are going to pay the price. So all of this LGBT, whatever the letters are, stuff, and all this other crap, those are things you discuss and you think that matter, and they do on social media, but they only matter when the economy is doing fine. As a matter of fact, we should all take the attitude of, oh my God, we're losing our masculinity, and gay rights this and lesbian rights that. That means we're doing really good. If we can talk about that and concentrate on that crap, we're doing good. But right now, it always has been, as far as the electorate is concerned, it always has been, always will be about the economy. And if these gas prices, nothing else, forget the supply chain, forget even the numbers, the CPI numbers, inflation numbers. If gasoline stays where it is now in November, it's going to be a massacre out there for the Democrat Party. So the pendulum just swings the other way. Quite frankly, nothing's going to change.
Well, it can't change with, even best case scenario, we throw out all the rhinos, we become a reinvigorated Republican Party, and they just absolutely a massive red wave, 100 seats in the House, 10, 15 seats in the Senate. You can't do anything because
all that money goes to Israel.
Bills still have to be signed by the president. So you can't even. You still can't. You can at least hit the brakes on things, but you can't pass anything because it's got to go through the White House.
Well, I'm very disappointed to hear you say we. We throw out the rhinos. What the hell are you, a Republican?
No, we as an Americans.
It doesn't solve anything. Yeah, what replaces the rhinos isn't necessarily more libertarian leaning. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, you'll get increases in the decreases in the social spending, increases in the military budget.
So you still lose out at the end. I don't think that's that big of a change. So yeah,
that's why I say Trump. The show it'd be priceless. Trump, bring him back. Watch heads explode in 2024. Oh, it was such a shit show. Imagine.
I don't know.
That's what we don't want. We're trying to end the shit show.
No.
It'd be funny, but I don't think I want front row seats to that.
but to play devil's advocate, you're falling into that pattern, which personally I think is the problem that we have. You're not voting for Trump. You're voting against the other people.
Yeah, that's true. Also,
I try to avoid that. Nothing good can happen.
It's going to be a monkey.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it's going to be a monkey's paw thing, because if Trump wins, then the next 4 years you're going to get you're going to finally get Bernie Sanders, but after he's incredibly senile and hopped up on every drug on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I don't think anything good comes out of voting against. I was as happy as anybody when Hillary lost. Let's face it. It was just wonderful to see that. But when you sit back and you look at it, it's not about hating the other person. We're doing everything that politics are bad about. That's what makes politics bad. We're rooting against people instead of rooting for people. And I can't root for Trump.
Well, you saw this. You see the same thing with the whole vax issue, right? Of we probably can't put that on because I said that word. But what you call? But the whole thing of whether or not you're for or against it, a lot of people have turned it into, I hope the other person didn't do what I wanted dies and shit like that. It's like, no, it's not. That shouldn't be how it is. It should just be someone's personal choice. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it has become a standard now. It's standard procedure. People just walk up to you and, are you vaccinated? And I haven't pissed off anybody yet because I've been nice about it. But my answer is, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I'm sorry, but that's between me and my doctor. And I wish everybody in the world would answer it that way. And people would stop asking that stupid question. Nobody walked up to me in my life and says, are you circumcised? Again, it's a choice. Well, actually, you wouldn't make that choice at that young age.
I was about to say.
Did you watch that last Dr. Campbell video with where he examined the Pfizer documents?
Yes.
Yep. He was not a happy man. Cognitive dissonance. He's been telling people vaccine's good, get vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. I got the booster. Everything good. Let's do it. And then the documents come out and go, you mean they knew in February, last February, they knew how many the adverse events and the deaths, they fucking knew. And now they're going to, so he has cognitive dissonance because he's been out there every fucking day telling people, yeah, we're good. Let's get vaccinated.
Well, if it was just about getting everyone vaccinated, why wouldn't they have opened the market up to all the other vaccines, like the ones from China or Russia that are traditional vaccines? Clearly there was more to it than that.
Oh, clearly. Yeah, no, clearly there's something else.
Locking the patent behind fucking...
Yeah, exactly. If whatever. It saves one life, if it's through us, right?
Right, as long as we get to save your life, you're not going to get that patent.
No, I mean, and considering they were saying, well, it's not perfect, but that's normal. It's like, okay, then what the fuck's the point? I don't know. It's dumb. All of it's dumb. I don't like the establishment, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
I just want to play video games and have a cat. That's it. I have very low needs in life, and I can't even have that.
Well, according to my wife, who's on Facebook, I've never been on it. When she posted that link to Dr. Campbell's video, Facebook immediately put up this is misinformation.
It did, huh? Okay. Yeah, I asked her to put that up, yeah.
It's there. So anybody who puts up a link to that video, Facebook is stamping it with misinformation.
Right. And so he's been, and it turns out he's not a doctor, he's a nurse, but he he's been providing medical advice throughout the pandemic and for a couple of years before that. So he's had his YouTube channel for at least 3 or 4 years now. And but he went down the rabbit hole, and now he's the bad guy. He's spreading misinformation.
Yeah.
When in fact they're spreading.
The funny part is Facebook always says our independent fact checkers. I wish somebody would start digging there and find out who these people are.
Oh, they
and
have.
Expose them.
I thought they did.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, they have been starting to come out, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the fact that we live in an era where things like influencers even exist and nobody thinks that we're in a dystopian hellhole yet really makes you think. Influencer, you're gonna have somebody whose job is to tell you what to think. All right, yeah, sure.
Isn't that the marketing's job?
It's like, I don't know. I don't know how we live in an age where the individual has been so frowned upon, and it's really, it just happened overnight almost.
Yeah.
Adam came back from Japan and basically said, he came up to me. He's like, I don't understand when everyone in this country became such pussies. And he's not the only person who was overseas for a bit who had that thought. And it's just, it's so weird. It really did happen just so quickly.
I think it's been happening for quite a while.
Like for us,
yeah,
it has
it's
been.
Like it's like a frog, right?
Yeah.
You're boiling a frog in a pot. It's slow that you don't even day to day you don't notice it. Year to year you don't notice it. But then now it's accelerated.
Yeah.
And you're going, oh, wait a minute. The water's boiling. What am I doing in this pot?
I don't know. It's the same thing with raising kids. I think a lot of parents have also taken the responsibility of like imparting their values or, morality, not necessarily morality. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but the whole idea of like what you should and shouldn't do. They've taken that completely out of the parents' hands, and parents have willingly given up and given it to the school systems and the media and all that. And that's why you got these overly sensitive babies. Okay, I'm not saying everyone should be like my parents and beat me with whatever's in hands reach if I screw up, but
they bring that back.
Yeah, right. But maybe we should bring that back a little bit. I don't know. My mom
can't just plop a screen in their hand and expect them to know what to do once they graduate high school.
They need that bit of connection from the parents, and I think the
screen has been doing the parenting lately.
And with the way culture's attacked churches and smaller communities and stuff, I really, you really see how they've been priming kids growing up in our generation, especially to say that family, community, and all that doesn't matter. Governments are God now. And it's really been pushing it that way. And I've been seeing it, and it's just, I didn't think it'd get this bad this quick.
Yeah, that's been going on. Nietzsche. Went back to Nietzsche. And
God is dead.
Yeah. So Woodrow Wilson and the progressive era. It's been happening for quite a long time, and they're emboldened where they. Well, I think they see this as their last chance. If they saw what populism and Trump can do to destroy, to knock them off their rails, off the track, and impede their progress. And I think they're going hard, pedal to the metal, because they see this might be their last chance to get their agenda passed. Have you been to the World Economic Forum website?
No, I haven't.
Klaus Schwab. Oh my God. It is he's pulling all the levers. So it's a Davos crowd. It's the elites again. The elites. Right? Old story for how long has that story been going on?
Yeah, it's I don't know how people believe the mainstream media narrative when it's the same group of people that were telling everyone how evil they were for fighting back against the hedge funders during the whole GameStop thing. It's like they're all on the same side, and they've completely they've come out and said they hate you when their Wall Street friends were all getting ass blasted. So really, you don't think maybe the enemy isn't each other, but it's the people running the show?
Unfortunately, people don't make the effort.
Yeah.
Don't make the effort. And even like John Campbell on YouTube, he was shocked. He was genuinely shocked. The episode before that about ivermectin, he goes, wow, there's something to this ivermectin. It might actually work. Dude, where have you been for 2 fucking years? Are you kidding me? And then now these Pfizer documents, oh my God, there's adverse events and people have died. Dude, there's a thing called the internet? You could do your own research? No. Red pill, right? He got red pilled. That's what I called it. And then someone else posted the same thing. He got, John Campbell got red pilled.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it was. Like, how did you not see that? This is news to you? My goodness.
Well, what's amazing to me is that in this age of internet, but specifically social media, you would think that our civilization would be smarter with access to more information. And we have actually gone the other direction.
We've gotten dumber. Yes. Yeah. Well, somebody compared, I don't know what podcast I was listening to, but there was, they compared the internet with the invention of the printing press, right? Because prior to the printing, Gutenberg and the Bible and the printing press, you had the overlords, in that case it was the church and the monks and people that fed you the information. You literally, no one had books. And, but the printing press brought information to the masses. And the internet, again, did the same thing, but apparently not for the better.
Yeah. Which can bring you right back to some, I guess you could call it conspiracy theory, is the handling of misinformation. We no longer know misinformation itself, the word has taken such a weird, complex description of itself that you no longer know that anything can be labeled misinformation, but it boils down to what your preconceived notions and political leanings are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're accepting information today.
Yeah, truth is relative.
And I go back to blaming a two-party system. It's designed just by itself to divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
Yep. So, and that's what we're doing today and the news, they talk about CNN versus Fox and so forth. Neither of them are delivering news. What they're delivering is what they know their audience wants to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a huge difference between being a show that's basically entertainment. That's the definition of entertainment.
Yep.
Entertaining your audience rather than informing your audience. And that's what social media, the internet, everything's gone down that same toilet.
Yep. On that note, I see that we've been doing this for 82 minutes, almost 83 minutes. What time is it there now? I thought you'd be asleep by now. Harry, you just lost him.
It's 11. It's 11:35.
I'm still alive. I gotta get home, start making some dinner. We're having hamburgers. You want to come over for hamburgers? I made lepine. It's a bread that a nice little traditional Balkan bread. So we'll see.
Did you make them just the right size for a hamburger? Or
I haven't formed them yet, but that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to make them the size. I got to look at the size of the patties and make them just a little bigger than that, and a little flatter. So they won't be the big puffy bun. It'll be crustier and smaller, and then cut into them. I got my Ivar. I'm all set.
I just learned of a place in the old city. Can't think of the name right now, but they serve a hamburger in that lepine, the big size. It's that big of a burger.
Really? So like that?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
I saw pictures of it. I'll show you a link. But somebody just had. I forgot one of Nancy's contacts here. They just went there and they're like, we could not eat this burger. It was that big.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, just remember the name of the place, which is cool. A perfect name for a fast food place. Prescia,
hurry. Rush.
Prescia, hurry.
Rush, hurry, yeah. In and out.
So,
yeah.
Kind of like In and Out burger. All right, man. Well, we're going to cut you loose. Let you go to bed. This worked better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Start with a family history, end up with talking about Trump. That's the way the world
Yeah,
goes.
absolutely. Yes. And back then the food and wine.
Yeah. Thanks for the simulating conversation, guys.
Yeah,
Oh,
of
nice
course.
meeting you.
Yep, likewise. Do this again.
Take care.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Night.
Bye. Bye.